to you. Then concerning the lecture on, or classes on Book of Kohelet, Ways of Wisdom, in the Book of Kohelet, happiness in the world which is absurd, which cannot be conceived, or which is it appears as if it is escaping our mind. So that's about yesterday's lecture we had. By way of recalling yesterday what we have seen, introduction. Concerning introduction, we said Book of Job opens for the Book of Kohelet, because as we have said already, Book of Job chapter 42 verse 6, Job says, I lost interest. This I lost interest could be interpreted different ways, as we said. I despise is actually the original meaning is I lost interest. He lost interest to know why innocent suffers, and if at all innocent suffers, what should be his stand? He doesn't propose any stand. Therefore, answering innocent suffering in the book of Job, Book of Kohelet draws conclusions, telling what should be human attitude towards. He sees amidst the innocent suffering or amidst different problems, or what should be human attitude towards a given situation. In one's given situation, what should be human attitude? And there comes Book of Kohelet and says, happiness. Happiness should be our way. Happiness should be our way in a given situation. Whatever is given, that we must be able to enjoy it, because we do not know for what it is, and therefore no use of lamenting on a given situation, whether it is good or bad. Usually if it is nice, we enjoy, we feel happy, and if something is really bad, we are disturbed and we are moved. And Book of Kohelet says, if you are innocent, you are facing a problem, then do not worry. By worrying, you are not going to do anything. Rather, you do not know why a particular thing comes on your way. Therefore, enjoy the life as it comes to you. As the life unfolds to you, you must be able to gratify from it or take pleasure in it. No amount of criticizing the darkness wouldn't help you. You do something, maybe lighting a candle. So that's the Book of Kohelet. And basing on that introduction, we have said Kohelet draws consequences from the battle of life. Especially we said 3 things Book of Kohelet proposes for us. What are the 3 conclusions? Enjoy life as God allows it to be. Secondly, resign yourself when you face incomprehensible nature of the things. When you don't understand a thing, the best way is you resign, you quit, you be quiet instead of questioning like Job. Thirdly, Book of Job, no use of or no amount of giving fight on a dispute with one who is stronger than you wouldn't help you. Therefore, that kind of fight you have to resolve from. Then from there we have said Book of Kohelet appears to be a skeptic, and concerning his because he comes from a particular situation, therefore his idea is determined by that. We said the social context, where is he coming from, he sees Israelites under oppression by the foreign rule, especially the Hellenists, no, Persians, also Hellenists, Ptolemies and all that disturbing. Therefore, all their activity calls meaningless. So, and after that, we have seen the structure with which constitute prologue and epilogue, introduction and conclusion. And the book has got 3 parts, we said. And the first part and second part, most important thing. And the first part consists of 6 subsections. Each one is being ended with a key phrase: vanities of vanities, chasing after the wind. And the second section is also ending. It has got 4 subsections, and each one ending with not find or cannot find the phrase. And concerning the unity of the book, we also said the whole book of Kohelet consists of 1101 verses, 111, and the word, the catchword of the book, vanity, appears 37 times, and it is used at the end of the section 3 times. So 3 into 37, 111, no? Sorry, I'm every time making mistake. 111 times 11 verses it equals to. Then concerning nothing new under the sun, concerning the phrase nothing new under the sun, we have said also what profit, what gain it is for those people who oppress the poor and make undertake big constructions. Everyone dies, everyone has got same Lord, therefore it doesn't matter, we said the main theme. Then under the sun, the phrase under the sun, we said place of man in the world. What is the place of man in the world? He is limited. Without him, world continues. Therefore, all that we do is, sometimes we try to do things, or we try to control things, but the world, the situation outside seems to be beyond our control, and therefore that also is vanity, we said. And finally, Kohelet challenges classical wisdom, we said. On different grounds, Kohelet challenges the traditional wisdom, or what we call formal wisdom. He doesn't see any relation between cause and effect. Then his experiences that good is blessed and bad is or wicked is punished, that also he criticizes because it doesn't happen always. Then concerning the 8th point, would not be God more than fate. So his concept of God, we have given a lot of explanation concerning what is the concept of God according to Kohelet. He said he is the giver of life, he gives time, he gives everything. But his giving has no policy. Man cannot understand why God gives to certain people riches, and why God makes someone poor, and why God allows wicked prosper, and why why just are punished or just undergo trials. He doesn't understand. But however, he says, instead of questioning God in the context of where we do not understand certain actions of God, certain dealings of God, so he says, better, instead of questioning, you avoid questioning him, and you keep silence at the face of God, and this paves way for Book of Kohelet to propose a spirituality of asceticism, that is, abandoning oneself and one's future completely into the hands of God fully. That means that amounts to say Man has to learn. Book of Kohelet says, man has to learn the dark path of God. So that is the conclusion concerning yesterday's class. And today we take up the 9th point, that is, enjoy the finer things in life. We begin. Enjoy the finer things in life. Fine things, finer. Best things you should be able to understand. After reflecting and assessing about life, about the world, about God and fate, Kohelet says how we have to conduct ourselves. We said already in the first part, Book of Kohelet, in his book first part, he makes thorough investigation about the life. And in the second part we said, he draws certain conclusions. And now, the second part, enjoy what he says. After observing the world, what he says? He says like this: life is obscure. So, which means we can't understand everything in life. If life has got many phases which we do not understand, and what should be our approach towards life which has got many phases? He says, enjoy the life, or learn to enjoy the life. He says 5 times at least concerning when you don't understand certain things in life, learn to enjoy. Chapter 2, 24 to 25. There he says, eat and drink whatever comes from the hand of God. What do you have to do? You have to eat and drink whatever comes from the hand of God. Enjoy. So eating and drinking is by doing that you enjoy your life. Some eat but they don't enjoy it at all. Okay? There are so many things set before them, they cannot eat. Sugar patients. Okay, this. So what? Book of Kohelet says enjoy. What do you have to enjoy? You have to enjoy your food and drink. And chapter 3, verses 12 to 13. And verse 22. You should enjoy your work, not only drinking and eating and drinking. You should also enjoy your work, the interested responsibility. Number of times, Book of Kohelet is very clear. You should enjoy the work. Now, how many of us do really enjoy our given jobs, responsibilities? This is a question. Therefore, Book of Job calls, if you are not enjoying our work, our responsibility, our portfolio, okay, you should learn to enjoy your work too. And the third enjoyment, chapter 5, 17 to 20. You have to enjoy, because by enjoying the things that are given by God, you will forget about thinking about brevity or shortness of life. So many, especially those who are sick and different people, they always think human life is brief and short, therefore they go on, disturb themselves, especially those who are aged. Okay? Like that. Sometimes it happens. So, by looking at the brevity of life, shortness of life, we feel discomforted or saddened. But there, Kohelet says, you cannot, instead of going on thinking about the brevity or shortness of life, you start enjoying whatever, stop thinking about brevity of life and start enjoying whatever is available to you. Then text 4, chapter 8, 15. One should enjoy, because enjoyment is the companion, life companion God has given. One should enjoy because enjoyment is God's life companion. He has given as a companion to you. Kohelet in these 5 parts say enjoyment in the world is the way which is obscure. And he also affirms that God gives the enjoyment. The very moment he has set before you the food and drink and all these things, it means he wants you to enjoy. Chapter 9, 7 and 10, verse 7 and 10. He says, God approves enjoyment. It's not you yourself think that you have to enjoy, but rather he says, God approves enjoyment. Now the word approves. Let us open our Bible and see. 9, 7 to 10. Book of Kohelet, 9, 7 to 10.
Go eat your bread with enjoyment, and drink your wine with a merry heart.
7 to 10. Because we said God approves. It's your portion in life and in your toil, at which you toil under the sun. Whatever your hand finds to do, do with your might. For there is no work or knowledge without wisdom in Sheol to which you are going. Now if you properly read verse 7, there is a word approved, right? Go eat your bread with enjoyment and drink your wine with a merry heart, for God has long ago approved. Now the word approved, what sense it is used, that's a concern now. The word approve, God approves, is used in the liturgical sense. Liturgical sense, God approved the sacrifice of Abel. God approved the sacrifice of Noah. God has approved the sacrifice of Abraham, Isaac. No? So this is a liturgical term. So therefore, you are sanctioned, your life is sanctioned for enjoyment, or you are deemed to make merry, enjoy your life, enjoy your responsibility, enjoy the work of your might, he says. In this world, number of times, many people work hard, but they don't enjoy. They go on, hoard things. I once remember somewhere reading concerning Hitler's saying. Hitler is a very bad fellow, but at the same time he has something interesting to tell us. He tells, if after your death you have bank balance still remaining, you have worked for that, waste of spending your time futilely. That is waste of your energy. If you have spent, you have earned, you must be able to spend it for your life. You must be able to enjoy it. And if you, after your death, your bank balance is there, what is the use of it for you? Really, I am touched by that kind of saying. Most of the times, we religious say, yeah, we have sacrificed a lot of things, but we don't properly enjoy the things. Likewise, especially most especially married people. They go on hoard lot of things to their generations, and therefore they don't enjoy. They go on hoard. Now what happens? Somewhere I read another sentence about this hoarding. It is said concerning the parents who hoard a lot of money on the name of their children, it will be useless. All that you earn and keep as an asset to your children. Why? Because if he is good, he will earn for himself. It is useless to giving a lot of assets to their children if they are bad, because they will waste it. If your children is good or they are good, whatever the amount you store for them, they will not mind you. They know they want to work on their own and earn it. Therefore, it is not going to help them. Likewise, if you are hoarding money for your wicked children, what happens? They will spend it and waste it. They will not know the hard work of it. Therefore, no use of hoarding. So, something similar, Book of Kohelet says. So, you work hard, enjoy the work, also enjoy the fruit of your labor. So that's an interesting notion about. So there is a completion of the 9th point. Then coming to 10th point, how this book is welcomed in the canon. And with a small notion we will complete this chapter. During the time New Testament times, before Jesus, there were two great rabbis in Judaism, Rabbi Hillel and Rabbi Shamai. These two are great exponents of Hebrew scripture. As we have greatest biblical scholars nowadays, and scholars have nothing to do, but these rabbis, great rabbis, under them there were so many studying, and this Rabbi Hillel, you will hear here and there, if you study Hellenistic Judaism or early Judaism, or if you study Palestinian Judaism or Hellenistic Judaism, under that you will read you will come across these two persons. Rabbi Hillel, he says, one should not question Book of Kohelet. How the book is welcomed. That's what we are going to see in the canon, in biblical canon. A book with such a skeptical understanding, why it is placed in the book of Bible? Rabbi Hillel says, we should not question Book of Kohelet, because it's beyond all the questions. It's a holy book. One cannot question it. But Rabbi Shamai says the other way about. Why? Because he questions the Book of Kohelet, because its conception of God and world and religion are bleak. He says these are the reasons this book cannot be added in the sacred scripture. First one, maybe because Kohelet has many contradictions. Book of Kohelet has many contradictions. Chapter 2, verse 2 and chapter 7, verse 3. We shall open chapter 7 and 7, verse 3. Book of Kohelet, 7, verse 3. Sorrow is better than laughter. Can you see? This is a contradiction. Sorrow is better than laughter, it seems. Which is better? Laughter is better or sorrow is better? Laughter is better. And these confusing and contradicting ideas are there. That's why Rabbi Shamai, says this should not be added in the book of sacred scripture. And secondly, the concept of God and man is negative in Book of Kohelet. So under these reasons, he says Book of Kohelet cannot be added in the sacred canon. And Rabbi Hillel says the reasons to include this book in the canon. During 2nd century BC, when Hebrew canon is being formed, there was discussion. There was raised discussion which books to be added. There were so many books, which books to be added and which books to be avoided. And there are at least minimum 3 reasons why, or at least minimum 3 reasons why a book is to be added in the book of canon. When they were forming a canon of the Hebrew canon, and when they are making a Christian canon. Christian Bible includes Old Testament and New Testament. Hebrew canon includes only Old Testament. So when they were forming Old Testament, and even up to 2nd century AD, the canon was not formed. Christian canon, Bible was not formed. There were so many books. All these books, they were early church fathers, then our patristic fathers, they were using and quoting these books. In the 2nd century only, they have said, okay, which are inspired, which are not inspired. All the inspired books they have collected and put and compiled as Bible, and those which are not felt that there is no inspiration, there is no apostolic continuity, apostolic teaching, and under the guidelines, these guidelines, those books are put aside. Like we have so many gospels, okay? It's not 4 gospels, or we have so many gospels. So those gospels look as if sometimes superfluous, sometimes not inspired, like sometimes no apostolic teaching, apostolic succession. So because of those reasons, those things were put out. That's an aside. Now concerning the book of Kohelet, the reasons to include this book in the Hebrew canon, these are the mentions. First one, the book Kohelet mentions David and Solomon. Secondly, in the conclusion of the book, that is in epilogue of Kohelet, the author of the Kohelet speaks himself as a shepherd. Shepherd is a positive image in the Bible, right? Starting from prophetic literature. All the prophets would say that God is the shepherd. There is a psalm also, the Lord is my shepherd, right? So shepherd image is presented in the book of Kohelet. And finally, there is a statement, fear God and keep His commandments. So book of Kohelet says, fear God and keep His commandments. And this is the whole teaching of Torah. The sum total of the Torah is fear God and keep His commandments. Now when this book of Kohelet is read to the people during the feast of Sukkot, a feast of tents, it falls on Sabbath, and on that day when all the people of Israel are into the fields pitching their tents and celebrating the first fruits, and their book of Kohelet is read. And the book of Kohelet is read. By reading this, book of Kohelet remembers Israelites' wilderness experience in which they were depicted as fragile. So during the wilderness, these days we are reading from the book of Numbers, right? Time and again, Israelites their fragility, their weakness is coming upward. Right? They were complaining about no food, they were complaining about no water, they were complaining about bitter water. Okay? All these things. The fragility of human experience is mentioned. Okay? On this day, reading Book of Kohelet, they understand human fragility, and they also connect themselves to their wilderness experience. Feast of Sukkot is a feast of tents, and tents are pitched in the fields. As their wilderness experience showed that they were fragile, so also Book of Kohelet presents human existence as fragile, like a vapor and Hevel. Vanity, no? So Book of Kohelet gives a overall human experience or human existence as something fragile. Is there anyone who thinks that I'm very strong? No, we are all fragile. Human existence is there is a lot of fragility. That's why we have sacrament of reconciliation. And there are some here, some in our communities, in our places, they think they are the angels and others are just human beings. We are all fragile. Human existence is fragility. We may appear as if we are great people doing a lot of things, we have a lot of talents and all these things, but at the end, what we have to understand, we are all, human existence is full of fragility. We are as fragile as an egg, especially in the face of death. Whether you are rich, powerful, great and whatever it is, at the face of death, you cannot conquer it. You have to submit yourself. You have to be overpowered by death and decay. And therefore no one can say, I am strong. Okay, with God we are strong, that's true. That concept is there. But the Book of Kohelet gives the other side of human experience or human existence. And that's why number of times Book of Kohelet speaks about Hevel. Hevel is or vanity. The word Hevel would represent, we said vanity, one meaning, okay. The other thing what we said, it's like a mist in the morning. As sun comes, it disappears. We do not know where it is gone. Likewise, human existence is like very brief. We may think, okay, 90 years and 100 years and all that. Yeah. And due to Corona, our life has become or reduced to more misery. Isn't it? Do you all feel that? Yeah, that's it. That's human experience. So far we are thinking, okay, human being is the crown of creation. Okay, we are images of God and all these things we are thinking. But human life has got other sides too. That is, at the face of sin, at the face of death, the face of being cheated. Sometimes I think we are very great, and sometimes simply we are fooled by someone. Right? Yeah, that's it. That's it. That's the conclusion of Book of Kohelet. Here we have concluded Book of Kohelet saying human being is fragile and therefore we cannot go on question God. Rather, what should be our disposition towards the life? Enjoy. Work hard and enjoy the shortness of life. Thank you.